Carolina TV viewers, Abdul Ali here. I'm with Jason Simmons, who is the chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party. Jason, you want to tell the Carolina TV folks about what went on today in Charlotte?
Sure. We were here this morning to be able to talk about the horrendous death of Irina Zariska, to be able to highlight the need for Democrat policies to go away that have allowed her death, the senseless death, and her life to be taken far too early, where we've seen cashless bails and the revolving door of our judicial system to allow a violent murderer back on the streets and to take her life far too short.
What would you say to the viewers of Carolina TV and the Asian community, not just here in Charlotte, but across North Carolina, about the need to support Republicans?
Sure, crime is a choice, and what we've seen is Democrats and Democrat policies have allowed crime to be able to perpetuate across not just Charlotte, but across a lot of our major cities, where you see, again, cashless bails and the revolving door system. What you've seen is Rory Cooper, Josh Stein, and Anita Earls allowing violent criminals back on our streets, over 3,500 because of a judicial task force that they initiated that put them back on the streets.
Excellent. Carolina TV viewers, again, this is Jason Simmons with the North Carolina Republican Party. I'm Abdul Ali for Carolina TV.
The North Carolina Republican Party. 3 weeks ago, when we had thought about coming here to Charlotte at the primaries yesterday, we weren't convinced that anybody would come and cover our press conference. But with the horrific events of August 22nd, with the senseless death of Irina, we are saddened to have to come here today to talk about the failures, the ongoing failures of Charlotte leadership and the Democrat policies that allowed that senseless and horrific murder to occur. You're going to hear from a number of our leaders, our elected officials and candidates today, and how they will be a restorative system to making sure Charlotte no longer is plagued with the crime rates that continue to climb year over year over year. Let's be very clear. Crime is a choice, and Democrats have chosen to side with criminals. Their policies of appeasement, their weak on crime policies, their open door and revolving door policies in our criminal justice system and jails have allowed murderers back on the streets time and time again. We see it not just here in Charlotte, but we see crime gripping every one of our major cities across North Carolina, which is also a national epidemic that President Trump is attempting to tackle. We see here in Charlotte the episode that occurred on August 22nd and the senseless and monstrous act of murder that took place on Irina. Our heart breaks for her, it breaks for her family, but her death is one of 100 plus that happen every year here in Charlotte. Hers is an indicative of what happens in Charlotte when you allow crime to run rampant, when you allow crime to go unchecked, when you allow law and order to be set aside for appeasement to those criminals that perpetuate these crimes. It is time to ensure law and order and public safety are the priority of our elected officials, to ensure that our streets can be a safe place to walk, to ensure that people can move about without fear, without worrying about their own safety. As we see what took place, this is also indicative of, like I said, what's transpired across our state under the failed leadership of Roy Cooper as Attorney General and as Governor, where he perpetuated these policies through his task force that allowed over 3,500 individuals to be released, violent criminals back on the streets, the largest such in our state's history. Also supported by Josh Stein and Anita Earls as they helped champion his task force for these causes. It is time to end these movements of appeasement to criminals and to ensure that we have public safety and making sure that our folks across North Carolina, and especially here on the streets of Charlotte, can feel safe again. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for covering this. But again, this is one of 100 murders that will have occurred this year, the year before that, and the year before that. Enough is enough. We look forward to hearing from our elected officials and candidates.
Chân Việt report from the uptown Charlotte, North Carolina.